Well, thanks for coming in. I'm glad you are here today. Um, I know that you filled out the informed consent. You've signed that, but I would like to go over a few things just so that things are clear for us.
Okay.
It's Robert, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So, Robert, I am a student intern, so I'm working here still under supervision, and so there are some supervisors that are still supervising me. So, as we get to talk, your stuff will be kept confidential, your name and your identity and everything. But I just wanted to be square with you that there are people who do review my cases, and just wanted to be upfront with you on that. As far as the fee goes, we'll be spending 45 to 50 minutes together. It's a $50 charge. There is a cancellation. If there's a week that you can't come or what, that's fine. That happens. However, we do ask for you to give a 24-hour notice. And if you call within that last 24 hours, we'll still charge you. We'll have to charge you that $50 fee because we have appointments one after the other. We have a high caseload, so we got to keep our hours going.
Okay, that makes sense.
Great. Back to confidentiality. Whatever we share and discuss today, I keep confidential between you and I. It's very important for you to understand that this is a safe place where you get to share your concerns and the things going on in your life right now. There are only a couple situations. In order for me to keep you and others safe, I would have to breach that confidentiality. I would have to not keep it, and that would be if you are a harm to yourself or if you are a harm to others. Those would be the two instances where legally I have to not keep the confidentiality so that others can stay safe. Is that clear?
That's clear.
Do you have any questions so far?
No,
Was there anything in the paperwork that you were unclear about?
No, it's all spelled out pretty clearly.
Okay. Well, today is going to be a little bit informative. I have my computer and I have my notes here, and I hope that's not going to bother you. But as we get started, I have a lot of questions, and that's to allow me to get to know you and your life and your situation better, so that in the weeks to come as we meet, I have a good understanding of what it is that's bothering you.
Okay.
So I hope that doesn't distract you. I know that sometimes taking notes and all that can be distracting, but I am listening. I just want to write this stuff down because it's really important for me to remember and for me to catch everything that you say today.
Okay.
Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, that's all the business. So some of the business is out of the way. Now we can get into the important stuff. So I know you're here and you're here for a reason. Would you like to share with me what's going on in life for you?
Well, yeah, I'm married and I have grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
I have children and grandkids, and I was told that if I don't get counseling, then I can't be with my grandkids.
Okay. Has your family, or is it family or friends that have asked this of you?
This is family.
Has your family explained to you their reasons?
Yeah, they tell me that I do what I want when I want, and that I'm not accountable to anyone, and that's unacceptable to them. So I don't really see everything that they're saying, but I don't want to lose my kids, my grandkids.
So you disagree with them?
Maybe I'm not seeing it the way they see it.
So you see it differently.
I see it differently.
Have they shared anything specific that has bothered them to have them set this boundary or ask you to come and do counseling?
Yeah, the last time I was with my grandkids, I picked them up and we actually went up north to Flagstaff
Mm-hmm.
all day. And I called them and told them we're in Flagstaff and we're just having fun. We had ice cream, but my daughter got mad because they had a big night planned. And, no one told me they had a night. No one told me.
Didn't know this.
So I just took them. I thought we'd have a good fun time, and and so she lost it.
She did.
She lost it.
Okay.
wife's mad at me now,
Mhm.
so I'm here to get help.
Mhm. Okay. So the reason you're here is your family has pretty much told you that they want you to come here,
Hmm.
and they've lost it, and there's anger. Sounds like, within the family.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all this?
Well, I feel picked on a little bit.
Mm.
I have fun with the grandkids. Everybody else in the family, they're too busy to enjoy the grandkids sometimes, and I
Hmm.
make sure my schedule is wide open for them.
Mhm.
But I know I tend to do what I want, so I know that. I don't think it's big enough to come to counseling, but apparently they do.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing
Hmm.
that. What's currently going on? I definitely have more questions um, throughout our time together, and okay. So, as far as I know, you've mentioned that this is feels kind of a recent thing. If we were to look at this frequency of this problem, these situations that you come in contact with the grandkids and your children, how long has this been going on?
Well, our oldest grandchild is 8 years old now, and so he's mobile, and
Mhm.
it's easy for me to pick him up and go do things. And so I'd say since the last year,
Mhm. Okay.
since I've been able to have a little more freedom with the grandkids.
So when the grandkids were babies, this was not an issue.
I wouldn't say it was that big of an issue, no.
Okay. So it's been the last year. And how often are you having these conflicts within your family?
Well, it seems like most of the time I have the kids with me, and there's always something I do that bugs them.
Mhm.
There's always something.
Mm.
So anytime I have a grandkid, I feel like they're waiting for me to do something.
Mm.
So,
Okay. Mm. How intense does it get? How would you say the intensity of this problem is?
well, my daughter yelled quite a bit growing up, so kind of used to it.
Mm.
I don't really know how intense. She yells at me.
Mhm.
She takes the kids and she storms off right in front of my grandson.
Mm. So it sounds like she did this when she was a girl. Um, did it go away while the kids were babies, and it's coming out again, or has this been something that has somewhat stayed consistent and reoccurred throughout the years, or was there?
Well, it's off and on. My son, who's younger than my daughter, he's got a 4-year-old daughter, and so I don't get to just pick her up, but he doesn't really get mad at me, but he doesn't give me much freedom at all. So when I'm with him, when I'm with the grandkids, I'm with him all the time, or his wife.
So
So
this is your
really,
son.
this is my son.
Okay, so you see this with your daughter, and also with your son.
Yeah, but it's different.
Can you tell me how it's
Well,
different?
the daughter gets mad at me. She's waiting for me to do something that makes her angry. My son just doesn't give me freedom at all. But
Mm.
I don't ask for it, but he doesn't offer either.
Mhm. And how long has it been like that with your son?
Ever since his daughter was born, 4 years.
Okay. So as far as change, has there been anything you guys have done to create change to help this problem in your family? Can you think of anything that's been done in the past or attempted?
Well, we've tried to talk about it, but it just gets bad. So I just stopped talking about it.
Mhm.
So really nothing. This is the first major change we've tried here.
Okay. Well, I think it's really brave that you're here. I think it definitely shows me that you care for the family because it sounds like this is not what you wanted to do, is come here, but you're here,
Hmm.
and it shows commitment that you care about the family. So I think it's great that you're here. Let's look at some of your history. Where were you born?
I was born in Orange County, California.
Okay. Do you remember hearing of any birth complications when you were born?
Well, was just a small baby. I remember.
Mm,
I
okay.
was a I was the eighth child.
Eighth child. Wow. That's a big family.
Big family.
Hmm.
Yep. So I don't remember complications. I know that my mom lost twins after me when they
Hmm.
were babies,
Wow.
but I don't think there's any complications. I
You
just
were just
remember people
small.
talking about me being really small.
Okay. What about illnesses as a child?
Well, I've had asthma all my life. I still have it, and I think just the basic sicknesses. Never had anything major.
Okay. How did your asthma impact your life as a child?
Well, I always had to make sure I had an inhaler with me,
Hmm.
no matter where I went. And if I got too worked up, I had to just stop what I'm doing. So it kind of was something that I always thought about.
Mm. Do you feel like it limited you?
I feel like it wanted to limit me, but I didn't let it.
Okay. Any other illnesses?
Not that I know of.
Okay. What about your development as a child? Baby starts to crawl and walk and read and do all the things that you learn in school. What was your development like?
I have no idea.
Yeah? You haven't
We
heard
didn't
any
talk
stories?
about it when we were.
Well, you were the last of 8, so there were a lot of kids
Yeah.
probably.
Apparently, I developed.
Yeah.
So my mom, she was just busy,
Hmm.
so I didn't hear stories.
Okay.
Like again, the only thing I remember is I was such a small baby.
Hmm. Who told that story about how you were
To
small?
everybody, mom or sisters,
Hmm.
some of my siblings.
Hmm.
It was just one of the things. I was a little peanut.
Hmm. Hmm. So you mentioned your mom. Is your mom still living?
She is.
Okay. How old is she?
She is 87 years old.
Can you tell me a little bit about her?
Yeah, she's a hardworking woman. She raised 8 kids. Put up with my dad.
Mm.
He's passed. He's not living anymore, but she'd probably happier now. He
Hmm.
was hard to live with,
Really?
but she was good. She's always been there for us. Our family's not very close,
Hmm.
but we're not distant either. We're not mad at each other. It's just the way we do it.
So real quick, back to your mom. You had said a little earlier that she was so busy that maybe you didn't hear the stories about your development and things. Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah, I was a baby of 7 other children.
Hmm.
My oldest brother didn't live at home when I was born. He was gone, getting in fights and
Mm.
stressing mom out.
Mm.
I heard those stories.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 daughters, and then there are 2 sons, and then daughter, 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 me.
Wow. Okay. And so back to your dad. He was a hard man to get along with or
Yeah,
to live with.
yeah. Just mean. Made you work all the time. Never told you anything good.
Mm.
He just his job was to work and to work us.
What did you guys work on?
Well, we have a farm. Grew up. My dad always raised chickens. So we'd have to feed the chickens, and we'd have to clean the coops. We'd have to clean out the farm area where the chickens are. We'd have to make sure there's enough feed. We'd have to clean out all the tools.
A lot of work.
A lot of work. So that's why I'm trying to give my grandkids something different I never had.
Mm.
I never knew my grandparents. No one ever wanted to have fun, so I want to go have fun.
Yeah.
Take my grandkids out and let them have a little fun.
Yeah. That's understandable. Grandparents. You didn't know your mom or your dad's
Oh, we knew them, but
parents?
our parents didn't want us to have anything to do with them.
Mm.
So, no, we didn't talk about them much. We saw them maybe a handful of times all my life, and they didn't really speak any words to us as kids.
Did your parents talk about why they didn't want you guys around them?
Well, I'm just imagining my dad's parents were meaner than my dad.
Mm.
So I can imagine Dad won't talk about it.
Mm.
And then Mom's parents just lived really far away. They lived across the whole country. So every 4 or 5 years they'd come out. They didn't travel a lot. We never went to them.
Okay, this is all really great information. Thank you. I know it's a lot of questions.
Yes, it is.
Do you mind if we keep going?
Yeah, sure. So is this appointment going to be just these questions?
It is mostly. This first time,
Okay.
it's about me gathering information to understand the picture some more so that we can meet next week, hopefully, and do some work. But I got to get a good handle on what the situation is. And you're
Okay.
doing a great job. So you told me what your siblings were as far as sisters, brothers. Can you tell me a little bit about your siblings?
Well, again, our family is not that close. And so I got 2 older sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They are one's almost 70.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember. I think they got married. They've been married 2 or 3 times. Both my older sisters.
Mm-hmm.
They've been married 2 or 3 times. They never had good guys.
Mm.
They both had 3 kids, and the kids are grown. They seem to be doing okay. And my older 2 brothers, you know, they kind of took care of me growing up. They were brothers, picked on me, but you know, the older one was he moved out of the house quick when he was like 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
But he always came and checked on me.
Hmm.
He was a troublemaker.
Yeah.
He still is to this day.
What does that mean?
Well, he stole, he fought, he raced cars, he was just anything he could do to get a big rush.
Hmm. Would you say you're close now to any of them?
No, we talk once a year. Around Christmas time, we try to figure out what the kids want, and so we switch gifts.
Okay. So you do still take part in gift exchange
Mm-hmm.
with your siblings and their children.
Yep, just Christmas time.
But as far as a relationship, I'm
No.
hearing you say that there's not really.
No, not really a relationship with any of them.
Okay. What about, you mentioned your wife. You married?
Married.
Okay. Can you tell me about your marriage?
Yeah, yeah. She's been a great mom. I know I've been difficult to live with, so she's put up with me.
Mm.
She's been willing to be patient, but I think it's once the kids got older and started setting boundaries with me, she started getting a voice. So now I'm wondering what our marriage was like. all these years? Was she just quiet? Was she not telling me things that she saw? So now I'm kind of wondering, you know, what is our marriage like?
Mhm.
She's taking side of the kids so quickly.
Mm. Had you been married before?
Nope,
So no divorces.
no divorces.
What about friends? Friendships outside of the family?
Yeah, I got guys I know from work, and we go fishing every now and then.
Hmm. You enjoy that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I gotta fish anytime I can. I like to take my grandson fishing too.
Mhm. The 8-year-old.
Hmm.
What was his name?
Jackson.
Jackson. What about abuse in your history or trauma?
Well, I don't know. What's the definition of abuse? I mean,
Hmm.
I had a hard life.
Mhm. Well, what would you tell me was hard about your life?
Well, if you talk back to Dad, you get punched in the mouth.
Okay. Right. So that would be physical abuse. Is
There-
what we would call that. Abuse would be coercion or force used against you. Violations.
Yeah, well, that's just how they did it on the farm.
Mhm.
I can remember not being able to eat if I didn't do my chores.
Mhm.
Sometimes the chores were like, took me 6 hours one day to get everything done.
Oof.
That happened a lot.
Yeah. What about trauma? Trauma being something, an event or a situation that you felt traumatized or you felt fear, trauma.
Well, that's every day.
Tell
Growing
me
up with
about
Dad.
So every day as you were growing up.
Yeah, you don't want to get in Dad's way. You get in Dad's way, and like I said, it's not only just doing something wrong, it's being in the wrong place.
So there's doing something wrong, and then there's being in the wrong place.
Just making Dad inconvenience. That's how it
Was
was.
he like that with all 8 children?
Yeah, but more so with the 3 boys.
Hmm.
But he made everyone scared. Everyone's afraid of Dad.
Okay. Oh, that's very difficult.
It's just how it was.
Yeah. Was there any other abuse or trauma within the home?
Well, you want me to just go through? I'd need time to think about everything that went on. I could probably fill your notebook there.
Yeah. Well, we'll have time to go back, and if there's something you remember later, we always have time to add to our discussion. But today, yes, I would like as much information
Well,
as you
just
can give me.
as much as you could imagine getting hit and pushed and poked and told to work and having to sleep outside and you name it.
What about other than your dad? Any abuse or trauma that you experienced with someone that was outside of the family or someone else inside the family?
Can't remember. I always think about Dad.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of real feelings there.
mm-hmm.
Real fear.
I don't think there's other stuff outside the home, outside the family. Not that I know of.
Okay.
People would be too scared. Dad would kill him.
Wow, so even other people outside your family viewed that
Oh yeah.
way they viewed your father that way.
Oh yeah.
He had a reputation.
They respect him.
Respect him.
You don't cross George Herbert III.
George. Okay, well, I know a lot of this information is not easy to discuss.
It doesn't bother me.
Some of that's big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
anything else off the top of your head?
No.
Okay, and like I said, if something else, if you remember anything, I'm always open to hearing those things. So in your lifetime, have you ever had an addiction?
No.
No addictions?
No, I pride myself on not being controlled by anything.
Oh, okay. So no drugs or substances that you've used?
None of my family. My dad, he'd beat you
Mm.
if he knew you drank or smoked or tried any drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I know my older brother. That's why he moved out. But no, I never got it. I never wanted it.
So your brother moved out because he
Oh,
was
he
using?
he was drinking, smoking, stealing, you name it.
Okay.
And he was tired of getting beat up, so he just left.
Mm. Yeah. So you have stated already, but I just want to make clear this is your first time in counseling.
Yes, it is.
You've never done any other treatment.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you had any hospitalizations?
I had my appendix out.
What year was that?
Well, I was 25 years old, so it was about 31 years ago.
Okay. So that was probably an outpatient surgery.
What's that mean?
Well, you went in for the surgery for a little bit, and then you didn't have to stay the night or anything?
No,
for a
I
few
went
days?
home that same day.
Right, okay. Any other
I broke my
hospitalizations?
leg.
Oh,
I stayed in the hospital for 2 days,
how did you break your leg?
working on the farm. Fell off the tractor, and the back wheel of the tractor ran my leg over.
Ooh. And how old were you?
I was 35
Okay, and where was this?
on the farm.
Where is the farm? Somehow
It's my dad's property,
where is that?
West Virginia.
West Virginia. I have missed that,
Mm.
where that farm is. West Virginia. Okay. So you broke your leg, got your appendix removed. Any other hospitalizations?
Not that I can remember. I think that's it.
What about suicide attempts?
I don't know. I'm not one of those people.
No?
No.
Okay. Medical. Let's look at some medical stuff right now. Are you having any difficulties or problems medically?
No. I just got a good, clean bill of health from my doctor.
Okay. How about medications?
Just my asthma medication.
Mm-hmm.
I still have that.
Yeah. How often do you use that?
Really, now it's just whenever I get wheezy, 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay. What makes you wheezy?
Sometimes it's allergies, sometimes it's sickness, sometimes it's working too hard.
Does anyone else in the family have asthma?
No?
Okay, let's look at the highest grade that you completed as far as education goes.
I went to high school.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You finished high school?
Finished high school,
Okay.
but I wasn't into college.
No. Did anybody else in the family go to college?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had 3 sisters graduate from college.
Mm-hmm.
They went on and did more schooling. One of them became a doctor or something. She's smart.
Yeah. What about employment? I know you said you have a farm.
No, my dad had a farm.
Also, you grew up on the farm.
I worked for him for quite a while. When I was first born, he had a smaller farm in California, and then when I was 4 or 5 years old, we all moved to West Virginia. We got a big farm. So I worked on that farm till I was about 40. About 15 years ago, I just had enough. Didn't want to work for my dad anymore.
Yeah.
So now I just work on heavy machines.
Okay.
So I know enough people in the area that they just, when they need work on their machines on their farm, they call me.
Hmm.
That's what I do.
Okay.
Pretty flexible job. That's why
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So you like the flexibility,
Mhm.
which offers you time to do what?
Go fishing,
Mm-hmm.
be with family, take out the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what my family doesn't understand is I've built my whole life around being able to be available for my grandkids. I never had that.
Mm.
So I'm trying to offer them something I didn't have, but no one seems to appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I can see that that's valuable to you.
Absolutely.
How valuable is work to you? Sounds like you're a hard worker. But your performance in your job with these machines,
It's everything.
everything.
I put my name on the machines I fix. When we had the farm, I put my name on the chickens and the crops that we had out, and everybody knows the reputation of our family. Hard workers, good product.
Tell me more about I put my name.
Well, yeah, I mean, someone's gonna pay me a good bill to go to their farm and work on their machine, and if I leave their machine anything less than in a place where it's ready to run with no problems until overuse or something, then they're not gonna call me back.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So I give a thorough check. I make sure I use the best parts, and I charge enough, but
Yeah.
people keep paying it because they know they can trust me.
Yeah. So what would you say some of your goals are? Sounds like you're doing well in business. You've got some flexible hours. What are your goals?
Well, my goals is to just be a grandparent who is actually involved in my grandkids' lives.
Okay.
And also, I want my kids to know that I can change. That's why I'm here.
What do you want to change?
So, well, I want to change whatever it is they think is wrong with me. So I guess I want to change the fact that I guess don't feel like I can do anything I want.
Okay.
But I don't think anything I'm doing is hurting anybody.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about obstacles to those goals or obstacles in your life?
Well, myself.
How are you an obstacle?
Well, my kids always tell me you just don't get it. So I'm an obstacle because I don't get it. And then I'd say my family can be an obstacle. They don't get me.
Okay. So the goals you've shared and the obstacles are very much about the family, which I'm not saying is right or wrong. Just want to ask if are there any other goals or obstacles in your life?
I mean, I care about work, but I work so I can pay the bills. So I'd like to retire one day, but that's going to only happen if I get somebody to train someone. Probably got another 20, 25 years before I can back down from the business and let somebody else work. And
Yeah. It's a transition, huh?
yeah, so I don't know if I really make it a goal right now, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So social relations, your social life.
Hmm.
Can you tell me about that?
Oh, I told you, I got some friends from work. I go fishing. I got family. I got there's some guys that I met that own a few farms, and we get together and talk about different farm stuff, truck parts, and
Mhm.
good crop for the year. Or
Mhm.
so and so sold the farm, and we go talk about who's moving into town.
Mhm.
Just
What do you like to do other than fishing?
be with my grandkids.
Mhm. Yes, it's very, very valuable. Very important time. So I have just a couple legal questions. Have you ever had any arrests?
No, ma'am.
No arrests. Have you ever been incarcerated?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What about some strengths? What are your strengths?
Well, I'm a good hard worker.
Mhm.
I'm trustworthy.
Mhm.
I know people in business don't recognize it, but maybe my family doesn't. But if I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Mhm.
I'd say one of my strengths is that I'm not like my dad.
Mhm. Yeah. In what ways are you different?
I don't hit my kids. I went to all their sporting events and recitals, and I was always there. I made sure I was there.
Yeah.
I've been faithful to my wife, provided for her, never laid a hand on her.
Mhm. Limitations. What might be some limitations you have?
Well, I'm really stubborn. So that limits me a lot. 'Cause I wouldn't normally be the guy that would come here. I guess my family knows they got me because I love being with grandkids and they forced me to do this.
Mm.
So if it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't be here. So I'm stubborn. I guess I am controlling. I like things the way I like them.
How are you sleeping these days?
I get up at 4:30 a.m. every morning.
That is early.
That's my body.
Yeah. Farming days.
Just get up.
Mhm.
So if I go to bed late, my body still gets up.
Mm.
But I like to go to bed at 9. So I sleep pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so you sleep pretty well through the night.
Mm-hmm.
What about depression? Have you ever been depressed?
I don't know. I remember when I was a kid, I'd be so scared I didn't want to leave my room.
Mhm.
I remember feeling jealous of other kids that had dads,
Mm.
and that'd make me feel, sad.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if I've been depressed.
I have a little checklist here. Let's just go through some of the things that are connected to depression, and you can tell me. You can tell me if it's a yes or a no, or a maybe, or if you have any questions about
Mm-hmm.
what they might mean. So, depressed mood. Mood being, you mentioned you were sad. You've experienced sadness before. How about in your adult life? Have you had a depressed mood?
Occasionally.
Okay. Change in weight or appetite?
No.
Fatigue or less energy?
Well, yeah, but I'm pushing 60.
Elevated mood? Meaning like an excited mood?
Oh, I can real excited real quick.
What makes you excited?
Well, when I pick up my grandson, I tell him where we're going, and he gets all excited. That gets me jazzed.
Mm-hmm. What does jazzed look like for you?
Wide-eyed, telling jokes, laughing,
Mm-hmm.
just having fun.
Mm-hmm. Just having fun. What about racing thoughts or ideas?
Oh yeah, all the time.
All the time? You mean like all the time? Like every day?
Every day.
So even when you have that depressed mood, when you said you have experienced kind of a down, sad mood, would you have racing thoughts and ideas then too?
Well, racing thoughts or ideas, I don't know. I think I have a lot of thoughts. I'm always thinking, my mind doesn't shut down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about loss of interest or pleasure?
Sometimes.
What about sleep? More
No,
or less?
I sleep pretty much the
Yeah.
same.
That's right. Worthlessness or guilt?
No,
More talkative?
sometimes.
When would you be more talkative?
When I'm talking about fishing,
Yeah.
grandkids,
Are you easily distracted?
sometimes.
When would you be more easily distracted?
When I'm focused on having fun.
And you already mentioned that you have not been suicidal.
Correct.
What about times you might not be able, you have a hard time concentrating or you're indecisive?
I'm pretty decisive.
Excessive pleasurable activities. Those are big words.
What's excessive?
Excessive means a lot of pleasurable activities.
No. I
Sounds
wish I
like-
had more.
Okay, just a couple more questions. Anxiety. Have you found yourself experiencing anxiety? Feeling restless, irritable, tense,
I feel tense all the time.
tense muscles?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had panic attacks?
What's that?
Oh, when your heart races and you get sweaty and you're afraid?
I don't think so.
But you have mentioned when you were a little boy feeling a lot of fear around your
Mhm.
dad.
Yeah, tense. I just always was tense.
So you always were tense and you still feel like you have a lot of tense muscles throughout your day?
Mm-hmm.
What about obsessions? Things that you get obsessed about?
Well, if I get my mind onto something, I have to do it. You know, whether it's trying to figure out how to replace a certain part on a tractor, or
Mm-hmm.
thinking about which fishing hole to go to, or what's the next trip with the grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Irritable?
Mm-hmm.
How often are you irritable?
Anytime someone pisses me off.
Great. It's all very good information. Do you affiliate with a religion?
No. My wife does. I don't.
Okay. What does your wife affiliate with?
She's Baptist.
Okay. Well, I think the last thing I want to ask is what's your goal for therapy? For our time together?
Show my kids that I can change. Maybe have my kids understand me a little bit more.
Okay. Well, I got information I needed today, and like I said, it's a lot of business on this first meeting, but I think we're off to a really great start. I look forward to working with you and Would next week at the same time work?
I think so.
Okay. And what we'll do starting next week is we'll start to really look at this presenting problem that you are not satisfied with and the family's not happy with, and there's definitely some ways that we can go about exploring this and doing some work to allow your goals to be visited and explored.
That's great. Thank
Do
you.
you have any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.